Alright, so as you can tell by the thumbnail and title, we went 2 days without power. Now, not only did we go 2 days without power, there was a tornado that went through my parents' neighborhood, and so I'm going to make a separate video about that event. But in today's video, we're going to talk about the power outages. I'm going to talk about the story. I'm going to talk about what happened. After I tell you what happened, I'm going to tell you what we learned at the end. I will leave timestamps down below, so if you want to skip the story and just go straight to what I learned, you can do that. But let's get into what happened. Alright, so me and Caroline were out in the garage working on, I don't even remember what. We were working on something. All of a sudden the power goes out and we're in the darkness. It's pitch black outside and a storm is coming. Okay? So we quick get out of the garage, get into the house, and right almost instantly as we get into the house, the wind picks up and it starts raining branches in our backyard. We have this giant tree in our backyard and giant chunks of it were falling into our yard and it was getting tangled up in itself basically. So I quick run out, I grab the chainsaw and I start cutting the branches because I'd rather cut them down and make them land in the yard than them fall on our vehicles or the propane tank or the house. And so I'm just pulling branches, cutting them. Caroline's pulling branches, making sure that they're falling into the yard and not into anything important. And it's chaos, okay? It's chaos for probably 30 seconds to a minute, probably closer to 30 seconds. Just everything's falling. The wind's unbelievable. And then it stops. It just stops. We take another probably minute making sure that everything that is going to fall in the yard and not on anything important, and everything that might fall on something important we're cutting and making sure that it's falling in a safe direction. As soon as we feel like nothing bad can happen, we get back in the house and it starts raining. Okay? Still no power, but it's just a storm. The wind is done. The branches are safe even if the wind kicks up again. Everything is going to fall in the yard and not on anything important to the best of our knowledge. And so we can just wait out the storm, right? And so I grab my rock pal and my jackery and I just think it's a normal storm. There's no power. The power will probably be back on in a couple hours, just like always. And so I want to test it out. I hook up my modem and my router for the internet. I hook up my laptop and my screen and my keyboard and all of that so that I can go online and do what I do online. Well, all of a sudden, Caroline checks her phone and she has a whole bunch of missed calls from my mother. I have a whole bunch of missed calls from my mother, so she calls back and a tornado went through my parents' neighborhood. And like I said, I will make a separate video on what happened there. But as we pack up a whole bunch of toilet paper, luggable loo, we don't know what to expect, right? So we just pack everything we have up. We rush over there and we're there until probably midnight. We come back and we're expecting to have power. I'm expecting anyway to have power. Caroline's going to do a video about her experience, but I'm expecting to have power. You know, in the summer, the power usually is only out for an hour or two. Usually a squirrel runs on a terminal or a storm takes out a line, and then they fix it, power's up and running again. We get home, the whole town is black. Okay, there is no power anywhere. So, okay, we get home, it's past midnight, we haven't eaten dinner yet, and so I pull out our stove. This is just our butane stove. Pull this out, pull out the butane, light it up. I grab the Stanley cook pot We make ramen noodles, and then we have Doritos. We have a nice candlelight dinner of ramen noodles and Doritos. And yeah, we used our flashlights and we were comfortable, right? It wasn't that big of a deal. There are some things that we need to improve upon, which I'll get to at the end, but we ate dinner. We calmed down. Our adrenaline was pumping. And so being home, having some food in our belly, we were able to calm down. We went to bed. Again, I woke up expecting there to be power. I expected that there was going to be power was going to be back on, and we were going to just get ready to go to my parents' house to help them out. Nope, still no power. So we had to start assessing what was going on. Now, when I reviewed the Rockpal 500 watt, I plugged in my fridge and the fridge kicked on. It ran the fridge no problem. So my plan all along was to use this Jackery, or the Jackery and the Rockpal, to run the fridge and keep all our food good, right? Well, when I plugged it in, the fridge kicked on and the fridge started running just like I knew it would. But then when the freezer kicked on, it was too much power and it kicked it off, right? So it was strong enough to run the refrigerator, but not the refrigerator and the freezer at the same time. And there's no way to run one without the other, you know. So this wasn't working. The other thing is it was pouring rain and we had some flooding, and our sump pump, there's no way to run our sump pump. So I plugged this into the sump pump, not even thinking about wattage. It's not going to run the sump pump either. It's not big enough to run the sump pump. It's not big enough to run the fridge and freezer. So we didn't know what to do. So my parents have a generator. We ran to my parents' house, which just had a tornado through their neighborhood, borrowed their generator, brought it here, plugged in our sump pump and our fridge, got all the water out. As soon as all the water was out, we topped off the generator with the gas that we have stored here. We get back to my parents' house, we help them out, and it just, we weren't here for most of the power outage. We were dealing with my parents' place, but there was still a lot of things that we learned. And so let's go through the things that we definitely learned and that we definitely had to improve. All right, so what did I learn for next time? What I learned, first and foremost, what we learned right away was when it comes to cooking, we had ramen noodles and Doritos for dinner, and then for lunch the next day we had peanut butter and honey sandwiches. But what we learned is we need more pantry meals. Okay, we have a whole bunch of sides, we have a whole bunch of different things in the pantry, but we need full meals that we can make in the pantry, because we just, you just assume you're going to make quick, easy meals like ham and cheese sandwich. Well, the ham and cheese are in the fridge, and you don't want to open the fridge and let all the cold air out. And so keeping it sealed was our main thing. And so without the refrigerator, we couldn't make ham and cheese sandwiches. We couldn't make peanut butter and jelly because the jelly's in the fridge. We had a can of corned beef hash, so we were going to have hash and eggs. Eggs are in the fridge. There's just so many things that we take for granted with our fridge and our freezer. Even hamburger helper. Hamburgers in the freezer, right? And so we need more pantry meals. We've been on the road to self-reliance, and we've been making our own chicken noodle soups and our own wild rice soups, and we've been making soups ourselves, but we definitely need to invest in canned soups just to have on hand. We need to invest in meals that we can make that just stay in the pantry. And so pantry meals is going to be something that we invest in here very soon. The other thing was the generator. We need a much larger generator. We already bought a generator. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Lighting. Lighting was another key thing that we needed to improve upon. So when it comes to headlamps, headlamps are great for camping. They're good for collecting firewood. They're good for going to the bathroom. They're good for just hiking and doing things hands-free. They're a really good tool. I really like headlamps for camping. But when it came to the power outage, they weren't ideal. We were constantly blinding each other. We were constantly blinding the dog. We were constantly adjusting them. And so, not my favorite thing. What I learned works much better is lanterns. Okay, the Lucy light and the candle lantern. I really prefer the bi-directional light than the headlamps or flashlights, because the flashlights require one hand to use, and so you're doing everything one-handed. The headlamps, like I said, we're constantly blinding each other and adjusting them, and you have to move your head at everything you want to see. You can't just look around. So lanterns. The other thing, I don't know why, but for some reason in my mind, I felt like we needed a light in the bathroom, the kitchen, and the living room. That way we could walk around the house freely and have light. I don't know why I thought that. I don't do that when the power's on, right? When we have power, I'm constantly turn the lights off, don't waste electricity. But when the power went out, we didn't have electricity, I was like, oh, let's just waste all the batteries and candles that we have. Just have it running for no reason, right? Because if you have light on in the bathroom and no one's in the bathroom, you're just wasting battery and candle. If no one's in the kitchen, you're wasting the resources that you have. And so, yeah, I did that for a while, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, what a waste of resources. Because the other thing that worried us is the batteries, right? I have no idea how much battery is left in this thing. I have no idea how much battery is left in my EDC flashlight. I use this thing a lot. And so it could easily die. I could easily run out of battery during a storm, during a power outage. I have no idea how much battery this has left in it. So we kind of like the candle better, because you can see exactly how much candle is left. This Yuko candle lantern is really nice because you can see how much candle you have left. And so it just put our mind at ease, right? If the battery in my flashlight died, it didn't matter. We still had the candle. I could go get another flashlight. I could still do whatever I needed. Lucy light, same problem. I have no idea how much battery this thing has in it, and it could go out at any moment, and then we're in the dark again, right? And so I like the candle lantern. I like lanterns in general. I like the candle lantern, and what worked best for us is we used the candle lantern to cook. We used it to eat. When me and Caroline were together, the candle lantern was our light. And then when I had to go do something, I used my EDC flashlight. When she had to go do something, she used her flashlight. And that just worked so much better, because we were preserving our batteries, we were preserving our candle. It just worked out, right? And so I'm probably going to get another candle lantern, just so if this one runs out, I can have the other one lit, so that this one runs out, I can fill it with the other one, and then I can just alternate between the two of them. I don't think I'm ever going to light both of them. I just would alternate between the two of them. And I think that's the way to go. I'm going to buy another one of these. I'm probably going to buy another Lucy light. What's the other thing? The other thing, cell phone. So if you've been paying attention to the channel, you know that I've been going a world without internet, not relying so heavily on the internet. You kind of gotta. Because when it comes to the generator, we needed a larger generator. Menards, Fleet Farm, Walmart, they all sold out like instantly. None of them had any generators whatsoever. Well, Caroline was on her phone, I think she was on Facebook, and she saw a post that there was a thrift store that had generators. And so we went there, and there was like a dozen generators there. And so they're very affordable as well. They were very cheap. And so having the internet allowed us the opportunity to get a generator even when everywhere was sold out. The information that we were able to collect from our phones and the internet is very important. It's a resource that I don't want to rely on always, but as long as I have access to it, I'm going to rely on it because it did save us a lot. It gave us a lot of information. Like I said, my parents could call and get a hold of us so that we could go help them. It gave us the opportunity to find a generator where there were no generators. It gave us the opportunity to see weather patterns and what was going on weather-wise, if we were in danger of any kind. It's an important tool. Okay, and a lot of people, they let their phone batteries die. A lot of people, my little brother, my younger brother, he's taller than me, but my younger brother, his phone died. He didn't have access to anything. Luckily, he was able to use his laptop to charge his phone so that he could get some information. But it is an important tool. It is something that I need to spend more time getting ready, making sure that I have the weather information readily available so I don't have to go looking for it, making sure that I have all the people that I care about on here in the contacts to make sure that I can call them and they can call me, making sure that the Facebook, I got rid of Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook for a long time. I don't think I'm going to get Facebook again, but making sure that Caroline has her Facebook readily available and easy to get to. I use Twitter now, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where you think you're ready, right? You think you have what you need. You think you planned it out, and then when it actually happens, there's so many holes in the system. I feel like we did better than most, right? We definitely did better than my younger brother. We did better than some of the other people that I came in contact with. We had food, we had water, we had shelter, we had all the things that we needed. We did very, very well, but there are just some things that we could do better. And next week, we're going to be talking about what happened at my parents' place. The tornado went through, demolished a lot of things, and there are things that I learned from that as well, but that's for my next video. So thank you so much for watching. Affiliate links in the description box down below to some of this stuff, and I cannot wait to see you on my next video.